It's the top of the hour, and this is AM 1700, Peaks Island Radio. And we're back with a check of the forecast for Peaks Island. For Friday, some more rain, high of 52. Things clear up, but get a little chillier over the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, highs in the mid to upper 40s with plenty of sunshine. We'll be back with a look at the forecast in 30 minutes here on Peaks Island Radio.
Peaks Island Radio!
Welcome to Peaks Island Radio, premiere week for The Trunk Show. The radio drama you're about to hear takes place on Peaks Island in the 1920s. It's the story of two sisters, summer stock, and island living. But the making of this radio drama is a story unto itself. That story is one of creative passion, determination, and resilience. Writing a play from scratch is hard enough. Changing gears in the middle of a pandemic to make that stage play a radio drama? Well, that's something that can only be done if the stars and the right people align to make it happen. Heather Burdock Curry and Joe Israelson, the play's writers, tell us how they first approached what would become The Trunk Show.
I think I was walking home from the boat and she was walking to the boat or something, and she said, "Hey, do you want to write a play with me?" And I said, "Okay." And so, I soon learned that don't mention anything to Joe Israelson because she will take it and run with it. And that is her strength. She just follows through on things, and she really knows how to sort of drive a project and bring people together.
Persistence is a theme that we'll come back to. But first, Joe explains why she turned to Heather to co-write this historical play.
Well, I think I think what happened was literally I watched Heather's play during the Selected Shorts event a couple of years ago at TEIA. And there was a quality about her play that I felt like matched how my thinking went. And the other piece of it is that Heather knows how to write dialogue way better than I do. So we were a good match as far as I was concerned. I'm really good at conceptualizing and sort of laying out the flow of things, but I always need someone to help me try to figure out how to make the characters sound like they're saying something important, I think.
So Heather and Joe started getting together way back in those pre-pandemic days to produce a staged play for summer 2020 on Peaks Island. Heather shares how those ideas started to unfold.
The history of theater on Peaks kind of just came out of, that's what we agreed we wanted to do. And then I can't really remember how the story of the girls, the two sisters, evolved, quite honestly. I'm pretty sure it was my idea. Don't know where it came from, but just the idea of these two young women coming to Peaks for the first time and learning about what was going on with theater on Peaks at the time. And so it really fit with what Joe had learned about theater on Peaks.
Many of the ideas and much of the texture of the play comes from the terrific work of Peaks Island's archivists, including the Fifth Main Museum. Sometimes, all it takes is a simple everyday item from the past to spark an idea that becomes a work of art.
One of the main drivers, too, was this handkerchief that Joe found in the archives at the Fifth Main, that as she looked at it, it had signatures on it, and she went after, researching it and who these names were, and it was, John Ford and Robert Kness, people we've built into our play, who signed some young woman's handkerchief. She got autographs on it.
Of course, though inspiration can strike at any moment, it takes hard work and careful planning to make a play come together. Joe and Heather thought they'd come up with a release date and schedule for the play, carefully navigating the island's typically packed summer calendar of events. Then, the pandemic.
It took us a year to nail down a date that we could do the performance. I mean, literally a year of negotiating. We had time issues. We had, when was there a time that we could do it at the Lions Club where we wanted to do it? And we had just finally nailed down a date, and we had everybody's schedules worked out, and boom, it was like, okay, now all that's out the window. And I think for me, it was too hard to let it go because who knows what next year will be.
Imagine that, though, moving from a staged play to something else and trying to figure out how to make it work. Some of the people that were on board with the staged production and trying to work that up for 2020 had their doubts about whether it could be pulled off in the midst of the pandemic. So Jo's tenacity just wouldn't let the project fade, and she set about trying to find a way to do the play, pandemic and all. Soon, they started talking about producing it for the radio.
It was kind of like, okay, so we can't do the stage play, but damn it, we're not going to let this thing stop everything. And Jo had the idea of doing it on the radio. And I thought, sure, why can't we? And so, I don't know, because we've never written a radio drama before, maybe, but we did it anyway.
But that shift from the stage to the radio was quite a challenge.
It became painfully obvious the changes we had to make, because everything we had designed around certain imagery, like steamer trunks and some shticks that had to do with a window screen traveling around the stage, all those things were all visual. And once we did a read through, then it was clear that the changes we had to make are exactly what Heather said, which is we had to definitely add a narrator. And I think I used to listen to radio shows I really still do, actually, Sunday night, Johnny Dollar and Gunsmoke. And the biggest part of it is sound effects and the music and short, snappy dialogue.
So the question became, did this play have what it takes? Would this be a good fit for the radio? Could you work in those elements? Jo thought they had stumbled upon a good fit. And so, of course, when you think about that history of the radio in the 1920s and dramas, what do you picture? You picture a group of people all dressed up, huddled around some microphones, somebody who's doing sound effects with real live objects going clankety-clank, clankety-clank, with coconut shells in the background or something like that. But for this radio drama, though set in the 20s, things were different. We were in 2020, and there was a pandemic. How do you record? Luckily, director Lisa Houston has a lifetime of experience with theater, including her continuing work with the high school where she lives and works.
We had done a radio show with the middle schoolers last spring, which I was originally the set designer for that, but we had no set, obviously, because we recorded it over Zoom. But I learned so much about radio shows doing that project that I was like, this shouldn't be that difficult. Like, if we have Chris and PI Radio and we have Steve on board, who also has a lot of sound experience, and we have decent actors, which I know we have on Peaks Island. We have great actors on Peaks Island. So I figured it wouldn't be that tedious.
So there was a cast call, there were Zoom rehearsals, and then the Fifth Maine granted the use of their space to record the play in a socially distant, safe way. All sorts of barriers put up to ensure that all of the actors were safe. Heather talks about what that experience was like.
The windows were open. We were away from each other. We had barriers. It was, we did a good job. Masks, etc. It was just cool to actually see people. We had done the Zoom calls, and that is what it is. It can be a little chaotic and disjointed, but having everybody in the same room, it was like, oh, cool. This is going to be really cool. And even though we did kind of a chunk at a time, it just brought it life.
Of course, after a staged play, all of the hard work comes before and during the actual performance. Not so in a radio drama. All of that work led to one final piece: editing and sound design. Luckily, Peaks Island and The Trunk Show had an actor named Steve Devoney, who also happened to be a longtime employee of C-SPAN. He knows plenty about putting together video, and he applied what he knew to working on the editing and sound design of this radio drama.
It was great to be able to be in that place and work with people who knew what they were doing, and all learn together. I mean, there were some people there that were more experienced than others, but, me being one of the less experienced, but it was nice to be able to do that. And also to think about, okay, well, how am I going to edit this when it all comes together? It was exciting because there was a point where the unknown is waiting to be revealed. When you actually open up the files and go, okay, yes, they do sound good, and oh, well, wait, okay, the script says this, but this doesn't match, so we need to. We had several places where we have to record extra little bits here and there. There's actually a couple of add-ons where I'd grab Eddie and drag him downstairs. And say, I need you to record this line for me. Sound like a shipyard guy, or say this line. We need a bridge between this place and that place. So you be the waiter.
Steve was worried that some of his more creative and inventive elements might not go over so well with the writers. Here's what Heather had to say.
And then we got into the whole realm of sound effects, which you have to have. And Steve Devoni has done an extraordinary job putting those together. I mean, he made me. I've listened to the first act, a rough cut of the first act with Steve putting in the sound effects, and some of them just made me laugh out loud where I didn't know it was funny, but the sound effect made it funny.
So through lots of hard work and effort, the play was produced and ready to go. I asked Heather and Steve if by doing this production, they looked at the island differently.
Learning that there were, 10 different hotels out here. I look, and that there was that boardwalk, and then of course Greenwood Garden that is still there, and that used to be there, and a real hub of all kinds of things happening. Sure, I kind of think, this is where that happened, and I just think it's kind of magical to think back to what Peaks was like during that heyday, if you will, of people, 1,500 people coming over, for a show, and 10 hotels all full, and Greenwood Garden with music, and a small zoo as far as I understand, and just it was just a kind of like a Coney Island and a boardwalk, and people strolling on the boardwalk with their parasol and their, arm in arm, and then going to the theater, and just kind of a really elegant time.
The thing that I find so fascinating is that I like to think, oh, well, those people stood here at this spot and looked at the same sunset I'm looking at now. Sometimes when you're reminded, when you're brought into a historical piece, standing in that place takes on a different viewpoint, because you can really kind of put yourself into the shoes of the people that lived back then, and say, oh, well, we're looking at the same thing. We're sort of, they become alive in your memory as you sit there and say, well, this is what they would have seen.
Someday, provided we've done right by the earth and by each other, future generations will look back and wonder what 2020 was like, the year of the pandemic, on Peaks Island. And when they do, they'll see theater happening, they'll see hope, and they'll see people expressing their creativity. What did it mean for the participants to be able to have this thing to hold on to during the pandemic? Steve Devoni tells us what it meant to him.
I think for me, I found that it was a real comfort to be able to come up here and be involved in something that was almost invisible to most people, but so big in our lives. I mean, there wasn't a day I didn't wake up and go, what are we doing with the play today? It was really a great thing, while also being in a beautiful setting and being able to sort of, most of the day I can chill out and relax and, and have my island life and hang out with, my neighbors and friends that are there. And then there's this job I get to go to that I really, it's exciting every day. I mean, we really don't have too many jobs in our lives where we wake up and can't wait to get to work every day. Well, this was one of those weird jobs where you just, can't wait to see what's going to happen next, I mean, the first day we went to do the recording, I was giddy. I mean, by the time when I walked into the place where you guys had all the blankets set up and the microphones, and it was just like, this is going to be great. It's going to be great.
Something has to be pretty important to make that kind of an impact in the midst of a pandemic. I asked Heather and Steve what they hoped this play would do for theater on Peaks Island.
Other people become excited by this possibility, that there's things they can get involved with too. I mean, it's fun, and it enlivens, you to become involved in these sort of things, even when you don't think it will. And that was my experience. So I hope that someone else gets something out of this too. And really, it not only is something pleasant to listen to, it's something that they realize, there's an opportunity for me here too. I could maybe get involved in something down the road, because the island really is. There are some great opportunities on the island, for things like this. It's a very creative place to be.
I think that theater used to be so big out here, and then for a long time, I don't think there was any. And until recently, when Liz Rollins sort of took up the banner and started, doing the plays at the club, I think keeping that momentum going, and then of course we have the Lions Club variety show and so forth, but real theater. I'm hoping that maybe this just sort of piques people's interest, and maybe somehow, some way, if we still have people who are interested and have the time and the energy and the expertise and the willingness to do more theater, now on Peaks.
2020 and the pandemic has certainly brought to light how important things like theater, art, music, and beauty are. They help to uplift us. They help us to take our minds off of the things that are happening around us. And sometimes they speak directly to those things happening around us. Jo Israelson is going to provide the final thought before we step into the world of the Trunk Show, with what she believes the theme of the play is, and how it might speak to you where you are today.
Sort of the underlying theme in this show is that we all have dreams. Some people get to live their dreams. Some dreams have to change. But everybody has a dream to begin with. Both of our characters had to look at their dreams and determine which path they wanted to take. And as it turned out, the world gave them the path, because there were so many things that happened that you cannot project and predict. And I sort of feel like in some ways, the Trunk Show does reflect what's going on with the pandemic, because we never would have, if you could have asked me, name 5 things that will get in the way of you producing this show on stage, never would the word pandemic have come out of my mouth.
And so, with hopes and dreams of this play being produced on stage at some point once the pandemic is over, Peaks Island Radio, Jo Israelson, Heather Murdoch Curry, all the cast and crew are pleased to present to you the radio drama of The Trunk Show. I hope that you enjoy. You can check out peaksislandradio.com/Trunk Show after premiere week, starting on Sunday following Thanksgiving, to listen to the archives of this program and to listen to the full, unedited interviews with Jo, Heather, Lisa, and Steve. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support, and please do reach out to the cast and crew and let them know what you think of The Trunk Show.
Good morning, Peaks Island. This is Chris at PI Radio AM 1700. It's September 7, 2020, and yup, another foggy day out there. Don't forget to mask up when you leave the house. Be safe. Be kind. Here's a tune for a foggy day. Just let a smile be your umbrella.
Just let a smile be your umbrella on a rainy, rainy day. And if you're sweet,
Maddie!
just help her.
Maddie, hurry up!
Just a few more minutes.
What are you doing up there in the attic? Are you being careful?
I am being careful. Oof. Looks like Great-Grandma kept everything. And I mean everything. I wonder what's in this box. RECORDS. Records. Oh! Old records. Wonder if they still work. Ow! Ow! What's this? An old steamship trunk. Ugh! This is really heavy. Ugh! Gross. What a funny hat. Oh, I look like a flapper. What's this? It's musty smelling. This was probably a gorgeous dress. Not now. I can't believe she kept all this stuff. What's this wrapped in a ribbon? Play programs. These look like the programs from the theater we went to last year. Bartley McCollum's Gem Theater. Peaks Island, Maine presents Girl of the Golden West, Mrs. Dance's Defense, and Two Orphans. I never heard of any of these plays. Ooh, this is so soft. Kind of like an old embroidered handkerchief with looks like the words, no, their names. Sidney Toller, Rockwell Follander, Gloriana King, Crane Wilbur, Bartley McCollum, and Robert Conness. I wonder who they are. What's this? Oh, it's a diary.
Maddie, hurry up. We're going to be late.
Just a little longer, please. September 1, 1924. I'm still angry that Mother and Father canceled my trip to Europe. Just because of politics. The war is over. The president said, "We made the world safe for democracy. Why isn't it safe for me to go to Europe?" I told everyone at school I was going to Paris. Father said we may be heading into another depression, whatever that means. All I know is that there isn't enough money for my voyage. Living on an island in Maine is not the same as visiting Paris. Going on a ferry is not the same as a trip across the ocean. And being with Betty isn't like traveling on my own. I'm 16 years old. Everyone else is having fun this summer. Maybe I will find a way to have an adventure. Maybe.
Go back in time with us to 1924. Our two heroines are on the deck of a Casco Bay Lines ferry with their steamer trunk filled not only with provisions, but with their dreams.
Betty, just look over there. I think it's some kind of a fort. It has a strange shape, and there's grass growing on top of it. It must be very old, and so much granite. I wonder how all that stone got there. Maybe they floated the stone from Boston. Maybe we can find a captain to take us there. Well, it's better than nothing, but not as exciting as the Eiffel Tower. Look, Betty, what a tiny little island with such a big building. It looks like a prison. Or maybe a quarantine station like Ellis Island. Maybe it's for immigrants. Father said we need to keep immigrants out. There are too many trying to escape from Europe and wanting to come here. Betty, with your head over the rail, you're missing everything. How sad for all those people from Europe to be held there not knowing if they will be sent back. They must be so scared. Maybe Congress will change the law. There it is! There it is! Betty, look! It's the gem. The gem.
What a strange shape. It looks like an Eskimo igloo or a hangar for a dirigible.
It's a theater! It's so big! It's bigger than B.F. Keith's in Boston. 1,500 seats. It used to be a skating rink, and there was a live band that floated above the floor on a platform suspended from the ceiling while people skated.
They skated on the ceiling.
There are paper lanterns and strings of electric lights that crisscross the ceiling. When it's very hot, if you start to feel faint, ushers give out cups of water. Maybe we can see a show. Let me find my copy of the latest Variety magazine. It's here somewhere. Pen. No. Wallet, no, here it is. Performing as father in a 3-act farcical comedy in the production of Brown's in Town, the closing play of the season, acclaimed stage and screen star Robert Kness will be both performing and directing at the Gem on Peaks Island.
Oh, what are you jabbering about?
Robert Kness? How could you not know who he is? He is famous. He starred in Children of Eve, the true story about that horrible fire at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in 1911. So sad. I cried and cried. All those girls jumped to their deaths from the windows because the fire exits were locked. They were so young. Some were only 14 years old, close to my age. Mostly immigrants. Robert is so dreamy. Maybe I will meet him. Maybe I can get his autograph.
And maybe you can get your head out of the variety pages. We won't have time for meeting stars. We are here to work, or should I say, I am here to work for my tuition to attend Catherine Gibbs Secretarial School. I need to buy the white gloves, hat, and high heels just to attend the school.
I am not a child. I know we have jobs, but maybe we can attend a matinee. The tickets are cheaper.
Catherine Gibbs believes inherited wealth is an uncertain protection. She and her husband were out sailing on his yacht, and the mast fell on him. He died without a will and left her with 2 children and no money. She built the school from nothing but hard work and vision. To become an independent woman, I need to work. I will learn office skills, organization, and punctuality. I can't depend on Father for my support any longer. I am 21 years old. Life is not about getting autographs and seeing plays and making goo-goo googly eyes over some old actor. And I don't want to be your chaperone for the rest of my life.
But maybe...
There's no maybe about it. Maybe does nothing to challenge the Harvard Medical School doctors that believe that education for a woman will cause her uterus to atrophy. Ha! Horse feathers. I'm going to prove them wrong. We fought for the right to vote, and now we must fight against oppressive ideas.
All set. Welcome to Peaks Island. Enjoy your stay and watch your step.
We're here. Betty, hurry up. We've landed.
I'm going as fast as I can. This trunk is heavy.
Look, the Peaks Island house. It is really beautiful and such a big porch. Look at all those rocking chairs. Imagine we'll be living right across the street from the Gem. Hurry up, Betty.
Viola, wait. Where do you think you're going? Where is that letter? Here it is. Wages, 35 cents an hour. Accommodations, room and board paid for from the first 24 hours of pay. Viola, this letter of employment says we are working at the Peaks Island House, not staying there. We have a room at the Union House Hotel, located at the end of the boardwalk, about 1.5 miles from the ferry landing.
1.5 miles with this trunk? Taxi!
Where to, ladies? Let me guess. You must be the end-of-season waitresses for the Peaks Island House. Hop in.
You mean this is our ride?
Betty, that's not a taxi. That's a wagon. Those are horses.
Yeah, this here's your ride. Meet Dick and Bess, the best, well, the only taxi team on Peaks. Giddy up.
Our tired travelers bounce along in the horse-drawn taxi as they make their way to the Union House Hotel. Along the way, their salty driver shows them various points of interest.
Must be your first time to Peaks. Well, I offer 2 tours, historic or gossip. What kind of tour would you like?
Historic.
Back that way, past the Gem, is Greenwood Garden. Lots of things to do to have fun there. Balloon rides, bowling, shooting gallery, photo booth, soda fountain, billiards hall.
Interesting. Maybe we can...
Remember, we are here to work, not have fun.
Gee whiz.
You already know that's the Peaks Island house, where the gem actors stay. Robert Conness, Gloriana King, and Crane Wilbur are there now. Sidney Toller is arriving soon. They are getting ready for the final production of the season. Our star high school football player, Bull Feeney, was an usher at the gem a few years back. Got his name from how he lowered his head when he charged downfield.
Bull Feeney? Never heard of him.
You might know him by another name. Ford. John Ford. He changed his name and went to Hollywood. He just finished his new picture, Iron Horse. It's got cowboys, Indians, and trains. Might get to see it at B.F. Keith's in Portland.
Can we?
Nope. Don't even think about it.
We got 16 hotels along the boardwalk. Avenue House, Bayview, Bellevue House, Chapman House, Innis House, Knickerbocker, Oceanic, Summer's Retreat, Valley View, Union House across from Weber's store. That's where Bess and Dick live.
What's that house with the red door?
That's the Moonshell. It's rumored to be a house of ill repute. Of course, I can't say for sure I'm happily married.
What is a house of ill repute?
I'll explain later.
That there's our firehouse. We got a one-horse pumper. That's the Avenue House, where folks go to see a man about a dog.
Huh?
What kind of dog?
Not a dog. To drink hard liquor. Maine may be the home of prohibition since 1851, but Peaks Islanders are a resourceful people, and making dandelion wine or bathtub gin ain't that hard. Everybody has a Heidi.
Huh?
Heidi for their booze.
Oh.
Here you are, Union House.
What time will you pick us up for work?
I'm the only cab on the island, and too busy hauling freight from the ferry. Seems folks get more and more boxes every day. You'll have to walk. Just follow the boardwalk. We have street lights now. Giddy up. Welcome to the Union House Hotel. Finest accommodations on Casco Bay. Please sign the register book. Here are the house rules to make your stay more enjoyable. Number 1, no overnight visitors. Number 2, no card playing. Number 3, no hanging clothes outside to dry. Number 4, no drinking of alcohol. Wink, wink. Number 5, no smoking. Oh, almost forgot. 5 cents for 5 minutes of electric light. There is a meter in your room. Just put the nickel in the slot. Enjoy your stay. Oh, I almost forgot. The mosquitoes are big enough to carry off a small child. And with all the summer garbage, horseflies are multiplying like mosquitoes. You'll need a window screen for sure. Here, please keep it with you at all times. Remember to return it to us at the end of your stay.
Welcome back to the Peaks Island House restaurant, Mr. Kness.
Hello, Owen.
We have fresh lobster on the menu today. Your regular table is ready, right this way.
There he is, Robert Kness. Here, Betty, can you take these dishes?
There's who? Hold on, I already have an armful.
You know, Robert Kness. Here, take these glasses too, as long as you're going to the kitchen.
Ugh.
He is so dreamy. He's a real star, stage and screen. He acts and directs. I saw him at B.F. Keith's theater in a movie. And that other man sitting next to him is Crane Wilbur. He's a writer and the nephew of the dreamy Tyrone Power. Variety said he has just finished a script for a new movie. And that woman next to him putting on lipstick is Gloriana King. She has been at the Gem all summer, starring in every production. According to Variety, she's Connors' paramour, whatever that means.
Viola, pay attention. You have already wiped off that table.
It would be the bee's knees to get their autographs. It's lucky I brought my autograph book with me.
Super. Well, my boy, it's almost over. It's been a long summer. 6 shows a week, 2 matinees, and filling 1,500 seats night after night just gets harder and harder. Competition from the Cape Elizabeth Cottage Theater and Casino has hurt ticket sales and silent movies. They're everywhere you look. Movie houses replacing legitimate theater. Hey, you, more coffee. Oh, I miss the city. And I miss a decent cup of coffee. Take this away.
I'm so sorry. Here's a fresh cup. Mr. Knetz, I'm a big fan of yours. Would you mind giving me your autograph? I have seen everything that you have produced that came to B.F. Keith's in Boston. Please, sign my book. I'll leave it here. When you have a second, it'll only take you a moment.
Well, we might be losing ticket sales because of that trolley ride. Get on at Monument Square, ride over the bridge, and step off in front of the Cottage Theater. And don't forget that Casino and Shore dinner. It's a lot easier than taking the Casco Bay Ferry, and no worries about where to park the Model T.
Labor Day weekend is the worst. Seems like they just roll up the sidewalks here. All summer with that hubbub and then nothing. Everyone just disappears. Dead quiet. It's like a graveyard. It becomes a 1 taxi, 1 restaurant, 1 hotel town.
Speaking of Labor Day and the end of the season, yesterday I received a subpoena from the Federal Court of New York. I've been summoned to appear. It's about my new movie. We can't get it released. The court wants to ban it.
Well, what did you expect? Your name in lights in the marquee? Tomorrow's Children, a movie about eugenics and birth control for poor women. Nobody cares about the rights of women.
The hearing is in 2 days, and I need to meet with the lawyers. I'm leaving tonight for Union Station.
Are you kidding me? You still owe me a rewrite for the final scene.
This is serious. I could be put in jail overnight for contempt if I don't appear. Or worse, if convicted of immorality. They'll lock me up and throw away the key. Besides, it's the last show of the season. And it's not like this is New York or Boston or even Cape Elizabeth. I'm going.
Come closer. Look, you need to stay. John Ford is coming to see the show. Maybe.
Horse feathers, I'm sorry, Robert. Tomorrow's Children is too important. To me, to women, to the world, and artistic freedom.
Just go then if you think you're such a great writer. Try and write your way out of jail. Fine. Abandon ship. Don't expect me to come to court and stand up for you and women's rights.
At this time, Robert Kness is trying to determine what to do to save the end of his season. Viola notices there is an empty seat at the table. She inches closer and sits down. She tries again to get his attention.
Excuse me, Mr. Kness, have you had a chance to sign my book?
Can I have your attention, please? Everyone. I've come to a decision. As you know, this is the last production of the summer. Everyone has worked very hard, and I'm sure everybody wants to return home soon. But our esteemed writer, Crane Wilbur, has chosen his artistic freedom and the rights of women over the possible future of this production. However, John Ford is rumored to be coming to scout out our show for a movie version.
John Ford?
That's right. We need Ford's stamp of approval and, of course, his backers. This is our big chance. But, as you know, ticket sales were down this summer. B.F. Keith's and the Cape Theaters have cut into our business.
Yeah?
So, to be sure we can keep the production afloat until the end of the season, I don't see any other way around it. We have to cut pay for the members of the crew and the cast, including yours, Gloriana.
Are you kidding me? I sacrificed playing the lead in the production of Quarantine at the Henry Miller Theater in New York to follow you to the ends of the earth. Peaks Island, Maine. Ugh, the home of Summer Stock Theater. Do you know who they gave that lead to? Helen Hayes. I have had to put up with incessant mosquitoes, tolerated the stench of low tide, uncouth tourists, lumpy mattresses, and the noises from Greenwood Garden, growling bears, howling prairie dogs, and beer garden music. And for what? The Citronella Circuit? You and your empty promises. Not to mention I haven't had a decent martini during this entire run.
Come on, doll, sweetheart, this is the last run of the season. Then we'll be back in New York at the Knickerbocker Hotel. And I'll buy you the world's best martinis made with all the illegal gin you can drink.
B.F. Keith would never ask me to take a cut in pay. He would have respected me and the crowds I can draw. Ugh, why did I think coming here was a good idea? Why? Hey, you, waitress. You should be asking for my autograph. Let me sign that book. There. Here you go, sweetheart. Crane, wait for me.
Miss King, you forgot your window screen.
In her haste to leave, Gloriana bumps into the table and coffee spills all over Viola's autograph book.
No, my book, it's ruined. No.
Gloriana, you're making a big mistake. By the time you land another role, we'll be in Hollywood.
Should I set up auditions, sir?
What are you waiting for? I could find a monkey from Greenwood Garden to play your part.
Or maybe a waitress?
Peaks Island Radio.
The stunning conclusion of the Trunk Show begins at the Gem Theater.
Number 1.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Next.
Number 2.
Next.
Number 3.
When last I saw you.
Next.
Number 4.
No. I want someone who is serious about acting. I'm not producing a variety show. Is there anyone else?
I'll check backstage, Mr. Kness. There can't be that much more talent on this island. I can't believe we have to do this.
Is there anyone else?
I'm here, Mr. Kness. I'm here. I'm so sorry to be late. I just finished my shift at the restaurant.
Wait. Who are you? Oh, Coffee Girl. Is this how far I've fallen? Auditioning waitresses? Okay, kid. Here's the script. Show me what you got.
The Perils of Pauline. Oh my, this is the berries. I saw all 10 episodes. I saw Chapter 1, Trial by Fire, Chapter 2, Goddess of the Far West, Chapter 3, Pirate Treasure, Chapter 4, A
Good.
Watery Dune.
Fine. Turn to page 3 in the script from The Perils of Pauline, Episode 5.
Chapter 5, The Shattered Plane.
Right. Now, I'll be Mr. Kerner, who's intent on getting Pauline's money by any means necessary. He encourages her to fly a plane. In this scene, she's heading
On Sundays, Betty, my sister, would read me the synopsis in the Sunday paper, and then we would go to B.F. Keith's the next week to see the show.
B.F. Keith's again.
We were always on the edge of our seats. True cliffhangers. Will Pauline realize she is in danger? Will Mr. Kerner disappear Pauline and get her money? Will Pauline achieve her dream to be an author?
Enough. Just turn to the top of page 3. From The Perils of Pauline, Episode 5, The Shattered Plane, Scene 1. I'll be Mr. Kerner, who's intent on getting Pauline's money by any means necessary. He encourages her to fly a plane.
I'm so sorry. From The Perils of Pauline, the original silent film version, Episode 5, The Shattered Plane. Hurry up, Harry. We can just barely make it on time to the aerodrome.
Perhaps, my dear, one of the aviators will take you along on a flight. Airplanes are safe.
Did you know Pearl White did her own stunts? Once, in real life, she dangled from a skyscraper and painted her initials on the side of the building and...
Stop. This is an audition, not a review for Variety. Now again, louder.
Hurry up, Harry! We can just barely make it on time to the aerodrome.
No. Pauline needs to get to the aerodrome to be able to fly, to realize her dream. Again, maybe with a little more feeling and a little less projection. All right. Top of page 3. Continue.
But, Mr. Kerner, my dream is to be an author. I have to fly the plane so I can write about it.
Sweetheart, try it again with a little less feeling. All right, I'll start. Pauline, perhaps an aviator will take you on a flight.
Mr. Kerner, Mr. Kness, Mr. Kerner, my dream is to be
You're not getting what I'm looking for. Let me ask you, have you ever acted before?
No, but I go to the movies at B.F. Keith's all the time.
Damn B.F. Keith's. Do you realize you're trying to fill the shoes of Gloriana King? And John Ford, the famous director, will be in the audience. Maybe. And try again. Louder with feeling. Pauline is in peril. She will miss her one chance to fly a plane, to realize her dream.
Mr. Kerner, Mr. Kerner, my dream, I want to be...
That's closer to what I want, baby doll.
Mr. Kness, what are you doing?
No, you're doing just fine. Go on.
My dream is to be an author. I mean...
Better, that's much better.
Mr. Kness, Mr. Kerner, my dream...
You know what? That's enough for now. I made Gloriana what she is, and I can help you become a star. But if we have any chance of making this work, you'll need one-on-one lessons, and soon. Let's meet tonight at the gym, so I can show you the ropes. Say, sweetheart, how old are you anyway?
18. Then, I better go now and change my clothes.
From the Perils of Pauline, Episode 5, The Shattered Plane, Scene 3, Mr. Kerner to himself. Don't worry, I'll get her next time.
Viola, with stars in her eyes, rushes back to her hotel room. She is changing her clothes to prepare for her lesson with Mr. Kness when Betty returns from work.
Oh, my poor feet. I had to cover both of our shifts. I'm exhausted. Where have you been?
I went to the auditions.
I thought we agreed that you wouldn't go.
I never agreed not to go.
Did you forget that we are here to work, not to play dress up? Wait a minute. Why are you getting all dolled up?
You need to work. This may be my one chance to be a star.
But you've never acted before.
Well, I have seen plays and movies, and I read variety.
What makes you think you can be a star?
Well, Mr. Kness said he sees something special in me. He said...
What did he say? That with a little extra help, you could be in the show, maybe?
Well, he said...
Are you really so naive that you are so talented you can be an overnight sensation? You didn't even know what Paramore meant.
Well, he said he made Gloriana a star, and maybe I could be a star too. I just need some one-on-one time with him.
I know this is your dream, but you can't trust men like him. They prey on young girls, like you.
I am almost an adult. I am 16 years old. You can't keep telling me what to do.
Everyone has dreams, and sometimes life gets in the way of them coming true. I had a dream too. I wanted to travel, attend a 4-year college, and maybe become an art teacher. But life changes, and dreams have to change too. We don't always get what we want. You can not go.
I am not a child. You are not my keeper.
But I am your sister, and I promised Mother and Father to watch over you.
Viola finishes her makeup and checks herself one more time in the mirror as she prepares to leave. Betty attempts to block the door.
Move! Get out of my way!
I am not letting you ruin your life.
You can't stop me.
If I have to, I will lock you in this room.
Get out of my way!
I mean it. I'm not letting you do this.
Move! I mean it!
Good morning, Peaks Island. It's another foggy day, but you know what they always say. If you don't like the weather in Maine, wait a minute and it will change. Don't forget to mask up.
Maddie, hurry up. We're going to be late.
September 5. I can't believe it. Betty locked the door. Literally, no matter how much I begged and pleaded, she wouldn't allow me to return to the gem. She ruined my life. I am so mad. I will stay in my room for a week. That will show her. September 6th. I didn't get the part. No one did. Ticket sales plummeted Labor Day. Cape Cottage Theater closed its doors and then the Gem closed. John Ford never came. We leave Peaks Island today.
I mean it, Maddie. Put everything back where you found it. We need to leave now.
I have to see what happened. Okay, I'm almost done. October. Father was right. The Depression changed everything. Talkies became all the rage. Betty graduated from Catherine Gibbs Secretarial School. She is moving to Washington, D.C., using her skills at the WPA, arranging mural projects for unemployed artists. This summer, I'll be returning to Peaks Island House to earn money to go back to college. I have learned to love the ocean and the night stars, though I have to admit it, I no longer dream of being one.
Madison, get in the car or we'll miss the ferry.
Madison places the diary back into the trunk. As she closes the lid, she notices a newspaper clipping that has fallen onto the floor.
What's this? September 8, 1934, Portland Evening Express. Peaks Island fire levels Gem Theater and Albert's store. Thousands of residents of Portland and South Portland gathered along the shores of the harbor as the flames, leaping 50 feet into a windless sky, lighted up the bay. The fire broke out less than an hour after a Republican rally in the evening had concluded. In a few minutes, the entire building was enveloped in flames. It was flat in less than an hour.
Madison! Get down here now. Madison!
Oh, gosh. Better hurry. I'm gonna miss the boat. I can't be late for my very first play audition. Great grandma, maybe I will get the part. And maybe I can make your dream come true, too. Just maybe. Whoops. Can't forget the window screen.
Tonight's performance features Michelle Mola as Viola Maddie, Liz Johnson as Maddie's mom, Bridget Joyce as Betty, Stephanie Elliott as the taxi driver, hotel clerk, assistant, Steve Devoney as Robert Conness, Eddie Devoney as Crane Wilbur, Heather Murdoch Curry as Gloriana King, Nancy Three Hoffman as Estelle Beauregard, and yours truly, Ray Davis Murdoch Curry as your announcer. From the Ad Hoc Theater Company, thank you for your support of PI Radio 1700 AM, and good night.
It's the top of the hour, and this is AM 1700, Peaks Island Radio. And we're back with a check of the forecast for Peaks Island. For Thanksgiving, looks a little wet, but highs get up to 53 degrees. A little bit of drizzle here.